Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform. And welcome back to Rap Rankings. This week we have a returning guest, Bostonian, hip-hop historian, living legend. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back the one, the only, Dart Adams.
What up, y'all? What up?
I gotta say, it's obviously great to have you back, but you are the first guest, I think, in Rap Rankings universe history to not, your appearance has not been divisive, like to any longtime listeners of the show. We've had many guests now since you've been on, and usually someone has an issue with something as someone said, but you remain above the pack. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. I know you, Dart, as a rather divisive man in real life. There are people who are, you say the name Dart Adams and you get one or two kinds of responses. Either he's a legend or they give you a strange face and they're like, oh, he was mean to me once.
Yeah, and it was deserved. So
yes, so
they likely did or said something incredibly stupid or came out of their face to the wrong person, and I shut that shit down immediately. And they're like, "He's mean. Eat a dick."
Hey, I love it. I love the energy, and your appearance on this show has been met with nothing but fanfare and respect from the Rap Rankings universe. So. We're proud to welcome you back here today.
It's what I do. I'm glad to be here.
Word. So before we get into the song, of course, this being track 3, Set It Off. I'm just going to run through the rating system here on the show for first-time listeners. I know, we have the potential for you to bring in some new listeners here. So I'll go through it really quick. The rating system, basically, it's a 1 to 10 scale. Each number corresponds to a description. And the numbers don't reflect the quality of a song, as that's pretty much indeterminable. It's more of a level of enjoyment. So in short, here's what each number means. So 10 means it's a perfect song to you, one of your favorite songs of all time. 9 means you love it. 8 means you like it a lot. 7 means you just like it. 6 means it's aight. You don't dislike it, but you can't say that you like it. 5 means you feel practically nothing about it. 4 means it's not the worst thing you've ever heard, but you dislike it. 3 means you just dislike it. 2 means you hate it. And 1 means you absolutely can't stand it. One of the worst things you've ever heard. So simple as that. With that said, you think you have a rating in mind for this song?
Absolutely.
Cool.
I have since I first heard it.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, shoot. Without further ado, I suppose we can get into this. So this will be track 3, Set It Off. Now, as far as the production credit, there might be a point of contention here, just from what I've read. So it's credited to Marley Marl, but to my understanding, the 45 King made some alterations to it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I wanted to shout out both of them on the production tip. But I guess I'll go first with my rating. So I actually give this song a 7. I like it. So it's a point
7.
on the board. Yeah, flat 7.
Would you like me to go next, Mel?
Sure.
Okay. You just want the rating. You don't want my whole spiel yet, right?
Oh, not yet. We're getting into that,
All right. Well, we're just gonna go ahead and give this a flat 9.
Oh wow. Okay.
Ding me.
You love it. Okay.
Love it.
All right. Well, then that just leaves our guest, Dart.
Yeah. Set It Off.
Yep.
It's a 10.
Oh. Okay. I like the sound of that. The 10 doesn't appear often on the show, so when it does, there's a lot of weight there. It's a lot of weight.
Yeah, I mean, it earned it. So should I talk about why Set It Off is Set It Off and why I gave it a 10?
Absolutely.
Okay, so first off, the first thing you need to understand is that this album, right? This album that we're talking about, Long Live the Kane, is one of the albums that establishes Cold Chillin' is a factory. Okay? This album came out the same week as, and I need people to understand this, not the same day, the same week as Public Enemy's It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. So that meant that in the summer of 1988, we had to choose, because at the time, people didn't have money like that to just buy everything that came out. So you were going to buy your $6.99, $7.99, or if you lived in the hood and you couldn't be around a Tower Records or Sam Goody or Strawberries that actually had sale prices, your mom and pop store was charging you $8.99, $9.99, which was a grip in 1988. Seeing as my brother, who had a job in 1988, was making what, $3.25, $3.50 an hour.
Wow.
So,
okay.
So to give you an idea of how much tapes, if you had to work 3 hours to buy one cassette tape with tax, you understand the gravity. Now, Big Daddy Kane had put out singles, and when you put out your singles on Cold Chillin', they actually came out on a label called Prism.
Okay.
Right? So he put out his singles leading up to the album, right? So when you get the album, you hear Long Live the Kane, which leads off the album. It's like hard, and it's like Kane is just rapping really fast, and he has the flow and everything, and your head's nodding, and you got the tape, you got the cassette in, and you're going crazy. Then it goes to Raw. Raw on here is a remix, because the original version of Raw was the single that came out on Prism again, which came out before the album. So people are sweating their like hair out and losing their minds and dancing really hard and shit. It's 88. This is what happened. Now you get to set it off. Now what you need to understand is that Kane was one of these guys, up-tempo, fast rapping, but he could also go smooth. He was versatile, right? But it's high energy. Look at the BPMs on these songs. And Kane raps them effortlessly. His flow, his delivery, his charisma, the structure of his bars, his metaphors, his similes, the way he can dip in and out with the flow. So we're seeing a style change, a style evolution in what rap was before going into now, because we're deep into the first golden era. It started in 86, came through 87, and summer 1988 is when music explodes. Everything comes out. So like New Edition and Bobby Brown dropped albums, Guy dropped the album the week before this. Then Public Enemy comes out, and then Kane comes out. And so everything is happening. I was in summer school in 1988, and this is around the same time Stetsasonic also released In Full Gear, and you already had people driving up to school playing MC Light's first album. So, to give you an idea, and then, the next month is when Salt and Pepper releases Assault with a Deadly Pepper. And the next month is when Jungle Brothers dropped their album. So, to give you an idea, everything's happening right now, right? And Big Daddy Kane's tape comes out at this time, and you need to understand how tough it is, how competitive it is in this era, in this time, in this space, not just with rap, but overall. Everything's out now. It's the hottest time of the year. It's the most competitive time in music, and Big Daddy Kane's tape is holding its own. Big Daddy Kane's tape is taking money away from other people. So people are losing their minds to this tape. You couldn't be outside and not hear a drug dealer's car with a ill system playing the shit out of this album. And this song being third on the album and you got to remember too, this album is 10 tracks long, right? So you have side A, side B. It's halfway through side A. So this is a really crucial point in the album or in the cassette, because you hit us hard to open with Long Live the Kane. Then you hit us hard again with Raw Remix. Then now you got to hit us hard again. Why?
Because this is an all-time great 3-song opening sequence start.
Yes, but the crucial reason why is because we're gonna have to slow it down on the next track, and then mellow you out to end side A, because we're gonna have to hit you hard again in side B to open it. And that's what happens, right? So you have to hit us hard with these 3 songs in order to get us to relax to Inside B. That's why track 3 is crucial, right? So we have Set It Off, which is one of the most iconic lyrical rap songs of the golden era. It's one of the defining rap songs of the golden era. Set It Off is for anybody who's an MC, who's a lyricist, or who loves these things. This is a hallmark track. When you think of Set It Off, the first time you hear Set It Off, I think about like the first time me and my brother was sitting in a room and he bought De La Soul's 3 Feet High and Rising. And the first time we heard the first 3 songs on De La Soul's 3 Feet High and Rising, and we're looking at each other like, is this a real album? Is this a joke? Is this for real? You can do this? So my brothers and I first played this tape and we're like, holy shit, this dude is superhuman. Like, he's an X-Man with the raps. Like, think about how Set It Off begins.
Well, yeah, I wanted to call attention to that because, so this is my first time hearing this album. So I get to this track and I thought that the remix of Raw was a statement, but he comes in the very next track. He ain't wasting no time. The record starts with his voice.
Yes.
Like he's rapping from the second the track comes on. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what we're doing.
He didn't ask Marley. He didn't ask Marley to play the beat. He was like, I want to be the person, the first person you hear on the track, and then the beat comes in.
Yeah.
Like, that's a new way of thinking, because it's not like I'm gonna do a skit type intro and then the beat comes in and then I start the song. No, I start now. Right. You drop the beat. Yeah, you drop the beat when you think it fits. And I'm just gonna catch the beat and I'm gonna keep running. Can you imagine being in a fucking 100-meter dash and the dude takes off before the starter pistol?
Right.
That's what Kane did. So when you think of Set It Off is a 4-minute song, right? It is a lyrical tour de force. And the crazy thing is that when you think about Set It Off, right? There's the break is, can't hold it back. Set it off. Can't hold it back. Set it off. Can't hold it back. And get loose. Right? That?
Yeah.
Now, here's what you guys need to understand. Kane isn't standing still while the shit is happening. He's dancing with Scoob and Scrap. He's dancing his ass off. They're doing an actual routine. They're doing spins and catching each other and doing splits and shit. And then they come back up to the mic and he continues rapping. Like none of that happened. So that's what I need you to understand about Set It Off. Because when you hear the recorded version, it's like, oh, so he got in the booth and he just rapped his ass off. No. The song is high, it's up tempo, it's a disgusting amount of beats per minute. But what you need to understand is that even in this formatted way that it's done so it can be performed for an audience and him not to miss a beat. That's what makes it even. So that raises the stakes even more.
And this is 88.
88.
I saw him perform live in 2005, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 06. He performed, he actually opened for MF Doom, and the Foreign Exchange were also on that bill at the Nokia Theater in New York. And I gotta tell you, he has the same energy performing live 15 years ago as I've seen on videos of him from the 80s.
Now, you have to grasp how insane it was, because at the time, so people say like the trio for this era was Rakim, Kool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, which is great and all, but that leaves out KRS-One, right? But just to give you an idea of lyrically what these dudes did and how they sparked the imagination of an entire generation of MCs to come. Like, quite literally, Black Thought is a god amongst men when it comes to MCing, and he worshipped at the altar of Kool G Rap and Big Daddy Kane simultaneously, 86, 87, 88. Because Big Daddy Kane's first single comes out in 87. So we've been anticipating this tape for a minute. And also, you have to remember that his album got pushed back because he had to do work for Biz. That's how he got on, Writing for Biz is how he got on. So he did his single, he did another single, and it was just to the point where Fly Ty and them were just like, yo, we gotta put him on. Like, the album, people are asking for it. Like, we need to put his album out. So, and then again, this tape is 10 tracks, right? It's just over 45 minutes long, and he's doing songs that are 5 minutes long, are just rapping with scratched hooks, right? And this song is 4 minutes. This song is only 4 minutes because he's rapping so fast and going so hard that he's squeezed in 3 verses in 4 minutes. And he's dancing. He'll dance through the whole thing. Yep.
So, and there's the whole scratch chorus. So. Yes,
the whole scratch chorus, which he dances through. So to just let you know that this song again was a hallmark. It's a stamp in time. Everybody harkens back to this song the first time they heard it. MCs that are worth their weight and worth their salt all cite this song as sparking something in them. And this put a whole bunch of other MCs on notice. And people that were getting into the game, they were like, well, if I'm going to have to, be an MC, this is the gold and platinum standard I have to be held to. And this is like LL Cool J is going to drop Jack the Ripper soon. Think about that too. He's beefing. He's going back and forth with Kumo D. This is the Let's Go Jack the Ripper time too. Everything's happening in 88, summer 88. Everything's happening. And Big Daddy Kane drops this as the 3rd song on the cassette. And by the time it's done, you are tired, your limbs are sore, you're sweating, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, give me a fucking break. And they do on the 4th and 5th songs.
Yeah. Right. And he earns, I'm personally not a fan of the next song on the record, but I think he earns the goodwill. Yeah.
See, you remember the last time when I told you about like how albums were made in the golden era, and it's like it was strategic to put what song where?
Yes.
This album can be considered a classic because you lead off with these 3 songs, and then you have this song, "The Day You're Mine," which is a song nobody likes, in the fourth position, and this album's still a classic. Think of it like when you have a baseball team, right? And you have to decide who you're gonna put in what lineup and what position, right?
Right.
You have these 3 thumpers here, and now you can take off time. You could take off and have this person hit 4th, and then you can have somebody who might come in and like do something in 5th, but 6, 7, 8 is the heavy hitters again. So it's like you barely get a break, but it's necessary. So that's what you have to think of, because track 4, oh God.
And even despite track 4, and I mean, me hearing track 4, like I was born in 93, so like a lot of what my generation got subjected to, this doesn't even sound so crazy to me, because like a lot of rappers are rapping about romance and relationships now. So it was just more so a misexecution for me rather than like the topic itself. But in terms of its placement, I really feel like sequencing is a lost art now. Because like it just feels like this just haphazard slapdash, way of putting these albums together, where they feel like just file dumps. Like, all right, just like empty the hard drive and put out these 24 track things to streaming services. And there's no narrative in the album. There's no flow. There's nothing.
You're guaranteed to be exhausted by the end of the experience, because no sane human being wants to sit around listening to 2 hours of the Migos.
It's like, so, but it's great that, the thought was like, hey, let's put these up top. You want to make that great first impression. And as far as the energy goes, apparently, back in 2014, Big Daddy Kane said this was his favorite song. And, speaking to the energy, he said, it's that song that just always gives me energy. It might be a night where I ain't getting enough sleep, I'm tired, or arthritis is killing my back. And as soon as we get to that song, everything's gone. I don't feel no pain. I'm not tired no more. I'm ready to go. That song just gets me amped. That's my go button. So clearly, I mean, he feels that way. We feel that way listening. You got that. It's a very frantic energy with that guitar sample kind of looping, I think it's a really inspired choice to speed the track up, because to think that the energy is so much of what makes the track, and it wasn't originally this tempo, you know? So like
Yeah,
the
so
45 King coming in.
Think about that, right? The song, as constructed, was slower. And Big Daddy Kane was like, we could do this faster. And everyone else is like, wait, what?
Right.
It was like, no, let's speed it up. Okay. And you're like, wait, what? What's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? What is he on? Holy shit. He's going to do this the whole song? He's going to do this the whole song. Okay, fine. Yeah, sure. Okay, whatever. Jesus Christ. So, like, and Kane, again, when you think about Kane and Cool G Rap and what they're doing on songs like this, or the original Raw, which had Cool G Rap on it, songs like Butcher Shop, songs like Poison, it's like, okay, so I gotta become a Super Saiyan just to rap. Cool, I'm with it.
Right.
Raising the bar. Just literally at the time, too, we were talking about this last time when Dart was on for Paid in Full. 87, Dart was saying there wasn't as much chatter about top 20 rap albums. By 88, he's saying, the field
it's
is
this
so...
like pop culture explosion. It's jam-packed with stuff.
Yeah, so again, 1986 was the first year that you could talk about what was the top 10 rap albums of the year. 1987 is the first year where you could say what the top 10 rap albums of the year were, but you're going to have to argue. It's going to have to be an argument. You're going to have to debate people about the order. And you can actually have a what's the top 20 rap albums of the year debate. 1988 is a year you can have a top 25 rap albums of the year debate, and it's going to be an argument regardless of where you place it, because it was that loaded. By the time we get to 1989, everybody's looking around like, we're going to need magazines and stuff, guys. We're going to need, we need journalists. Yeah, we need journalists and shit, because it's ridiculous now, guys. Can we do something? Can we do something about that?
Yeah, and I'll say too, like these kinds of records, I'm gonna always have a soft spot for, because like when I had, started my own, personal rap journey in like '07, a lot of what drew me to it was just not only the competitive aspect, but like, this is a lyrical exhibition. Like I enjoy hearing rappers just rap at length. Like I've developed throughout time an appreciation for, like a record with chorus and, but like this is always going to be something that I'm going to gravitate towards, because it's really a showcase. It's like, what can you do? How well can you do it? And you can measure it up against other people's lyrical exhibitions.
But
and
imagine that being a prerequisite though.
Right. Now it's not so much the case anymore. It's like, it's nobody's really trying to measure themselves up against other rappers, because I guess like they feel like they don't need to, what with the internet, and you can just kind of cultivate your own little corner and fan base and little pocket without having to sway, the opinions of thousands or millions. It's like, so yeah, these rappers are coming. I can't imagine if I was hearing this, in like 88, and it's like, oh my God, like I got to compete with this. I mean, because not only is he like nimble and, technically gifted. I mean, he's switching from, when you say things like, while my rhymes stick to you like Skippy and Jif, I mean, you got a simile there, but then he goes, he takes the references to a place of just like illusion, not explicitly saying like, in the next line, feel my blood fist or my death kiss, referencing these films, but not saying like this or like that, or, as this, but just daring you to keep up with him. So I would expect like on repeated listens, like you're catching stuff like I didn't even catch that the first time, like, oh, that was about this, like just crazy. And even in the midst of all that, you throw in like the showmanship, him saying like, I can sneeze, sniffle, and cough, even if I stutter, I'm still come off like that's like, I'm just my mind's blown now in 2020. Seriously, like, yeah, this guy is just styling on people.
A little less stoic than Rakim, right? Like a little bit more of a showman in that
more
regard.
flair.
But here's the thing, right? When you listen to later Rakim albums, like for instance, you listen to Follow the Leader, right? If you listen to Rakim on Follow the Leader, he goes there, right? He starts doing stuff. alliteration, personification, similes, metaphors, everything in your fucking English book. And you're like, yo, what is the matter? Why? Who did this? Kane, goddammit, and Cool G Rap. So and then the thing is that like you listen to the next Kane album and you're like, oh, okay, so we ain't doing 10 songs anymore, are we? No, we're going overtime. We're doing stories and shit. Oh, okay, we're doing everything now. We're bringing in guest stars. Okay, I get it. And it's because of why Rakim and Cool G Rap, goddammit. So when you listen to this album, it's great because it's the jumping off point. But his jumping off point was the death knell for a lot of careers and the light bulb for a whole lot of others. And that's why Set It Off is an amazing song and a landmark and a testament to greatness in MCing.
Word.
Well, this is a song that I came about like almost in reverse. So, Dart, you were mentioning Black Thought earlier, and there was a record. It's actually 2 records on The Tipping Point, which was their album on Interscope, or I think maybe they were still on Geffen at the time, 2004. And there's a song called Web, which is Black Thought doing a total lyrical exhibition. It's one of the most impressive examples of him doing that on record. And then it transitions into a song called Boom, where he does Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, and Cool G Rap homages, one verse for each guy.
Yes.
And, you know, when I heard those songs, I mean, at the time, I was just blown away by Black Thought's rapping. And being on OK Player, you know, there were people who were discussing the album when it came out, and they were talking about how the song was an homage to these guys. Now, I had to go and do my own research and, you know, come to find out a few months later, you know, as I mentioned, or as I will mention earlier, when we discuss our backgrounds with this album, my film and lit teacher gave me this album to listen to. And when I heard Set It Off, like a light bulb went off because I recognized the cadence and the style of rapping from Boom, and immediately like fell in love with the song. So this is my favorite Big Daddy Kane song, despite the fact that I quote "Ain't No Half Steppin' more" in my daily life.
Well, I think generally more people quote "Ain't No Half Steppin'" because one, it's a slower, smoother song, and I feel like Kane knew this is the song where I'm gonna get you, and you're gonna feel mellow and laid out, but you're not gonna catch how intricate this shit is. And this is gonna be the song people quote because rap to what the heck, rap to discotheque, go to the pack. You gonna quote that shit? I don't think so. So let's all sing the Big Daddy anthem, you know? So
Word.
But also, here's another thing that I need. One last thing I'm going to say, right? Set It Off. Set It Off ends up being a single. Do you know what the B-side of the Set It Off single is?
Oh, what's that?
A jam called Get Into It. So, all I'm going to say is that anybody who loved lyricism at that time, that single was mind-blowing. It was like finding your dad's porn VHS tapes in the jocks box underneath the bed, and nobody's home, and you know that you could get away with it provided you rewind it right back to the spot where it was. And that's where counters, a lot of y'all like, what is he talking about? Counters on VCRs came in handy. VCRs used to have these things called counters. If you had a digital VCR, there was a number. It was like a 4 or 5 digit number, right? So when you put in the tape, it had better be there. And when you rewound it, you make sure it was right back there when you put it back in the box. You know, so, but it was like finding that treasure, or your brother leaving those sneakers behind, or the comic book, or any whatever you're into. For somebody, I know it was probably somebody leaving home a cast recording of a Broadway show on record that they could listen to and then put back before they got home. But either way, it was the thing. That single My God. And if you haven't heard Get Into It, play Get Into It and listen to Get Into It. And imagine having the single Set It Off, which you always heard already heard from the album, and then you got Get Into It. Jesus Christ.
I mean, it's just, I think a line that really encapsulates, I would say, like this song and what's being done and how explosive it could have been. I mean, and like no BS. This is also how I feel when you're talking, Dart. It's like when Kane says the teacher's teaching, so just shut up. It's like like if I was a rapper back then, like I know when I'm out class, like I'm a student here. Like I'll just take notes. Like, you know, I wouldn't every like threat and dare that he like issues out to other MCs on here. It's, you know, it doesn't just feel like throwaway lines. They carry weight. It's like, it's a challenge. It's like, don't step to me unless you can really keep up with me. And, you know, I love that. Like, I love that competitive aspect of rap, you know? So, yeah, it's like,
did you see this tweet recently? It was a screenshot from Fonte that he was texting with Elzai, and Elzai was like breaking down rapping, like the technical aspects of it. And he was talking about, you know, rhyming words within words. And you get that here on this song, you know, attack, react, you know, in control and effect. So what the heck? Rock the disco tech.
Yeah.
Effect, heck, tech.
Yeah.
This groove is what's next.
Yeah. So the insane part, internal rhymes, right? So internal rhymes, compound rhymes, letter boxes, shadow boxes, all that shit. But then the insane part is that imagine being me going to Boston Latin School and getting what they term a classical education from a school that was created in 1635, you know, and no, dead ass, 1635. And I'm going there in 1987, 88, 89, and going to English class and being taught about meter, rhyme, cadence, iambic pentameter, and all these other and all these other devices, alliteration, personification, everything I was talking about before, and realizing I understand this because I'm really into rap.
Right.
Can you imagine that? And they're like, this is Robert Frost. You can figure out the meter from the rhyme he does. And I'm like, fuck all that shit. I know the meter because I listen to like, you know what I'm saying? Like I listen to fucking Super Lover C, you know? I know cadences because I listen to Rock Him. I know cadences because I listen to Daddy O from Stetsasonic, you know? So that's
arguably more advanced cadences than Robert Frost.
You know?
Yeah, Robert Frost didn't have to fucking compete with Coogee Rap.
Right.
If Robert Frost had to compete with Coogee Rap, Jesus Christ, he would have retired.
Oh my God, he'd be finished.
Yeah, stopping by woods on a snowy evening, I can't put this shit out. Did you hear Men at Work? I can't leave the house with this shit. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, like it really is. You know, people speak about this all the time, but it's poetry. I think a lot of what, you know, helped me gravitate towards it because I you know, you hear a lot of stories about rappers like I always knew I loved language, or I was always good in English class, and that stuff translates. You know, it's about breaking down and deconstructing and reconstructing and just flirting with words.
Do you know how much of a nerd you have to be a really, really, really good MC? Like, I'm dead ass. There are people that did horribly in school, right? Horribly in school. Some of them dropped out. But I'll be damned if English class, you ask their teacher, it's like, so what was he like? He's like, oh my God, he was my favorite student. Or she was, or she was always my favorite student. It's like I had to fail her, but Jesus Christ, like I still think about her today. Like, think about the fact that Biggie dropped out of school, okay?
Right.
But you go back and ask his teachers about him, and they're like, "Oh, he was brilliant. He was bright. He shone like a star when he was awake." And you know, but like you have to think of all the best MCs that like didn't school wasn't their thing, right? But clearly they were doing homework. Eminem hates reading. Can you imagine that? Eminem, he said, oh, the worst thing is reading. Oh, God. That motherfucker is more in love with the English language and the written word than people than Dean Koontz, you know? Like people that get paid, Stephen King, people that get paid to write for a living. Like this
Well,
dude lives for
at
the
times
language.
there's a direct pipeline in some ways. You know, we have guys like J Live, Homeboy Sandman. I mean, they're
Yes.
educators.
Yeah. And the thing is that, like, you understand how many hours, how much work, how much alone time, how much grinding was necessary to perfect this style, this skill, and to find the finesse and to find out how to freak it. And then you have to practice. It's not just something that you do by yourself in your bed. Now you have to test it. Now you have to perfect it. Now you have to get in front of people. And the thing is that you had to go through so many different levels and layers and checks and balances with people before you even got to the mic. Nowadays, all you need to do is have apps and you can record in your home and upload it to SoundCloud, and there's nobody to vet you.
Right.
And in that day and age, you had to go through the gauntlet and look at the names and the lists of people that came before you, and you were like, okay, they're greats. Now I have to find a way to take what they did and raise the bar to the point they'll look at me like I hate you. Like, you have to be so good that Moulz Mel is going to look at you with disgust. Your hero, icon. Like, it's like being an Olympian god and trying to usurp the Titans. This is what rap is. This is what rap is in the late 80s.
Man.
You have to kill your heroes.
Wow.
Yeah, and Dart, not for nothing, you can attest to this. In 1988, how many rappers put out singles and white labels? Then there was no album that came out afterwards.
Yeah, and 88 is easily one of the most competitive years in rap history. Shit, summer 1988 is easily one of the most competitive 3-month periods in music history. Okay? Forget about just rap. You know, we're talking about late 60s, people putting out single after single after single. Prince used to say, and yes, I'm going to talk about Prince. Prince once said, he's like, hey, how would you feel? Like, it's tough competing against your competition, blah, blah, blah. It's like, shit, I'd hate to be around late 60s. I got to go against James Brown. I got to go against Aretha Franklin. He said, I got to go against Stevie Wonder. He's like, I got to go against Marvin Gaye. It's like, I got to go against the Temptations. I got to go against the Four Tops. He's like, shit. He's like, and the thing is that it wasn't about albums back then. It was about singles. Because the industry was single-based, right? It's like, would you want to be an artist when Otis Redding's still alive? Hell fucking no. And that's what it was like to be a rapper in 86, 87, 88, when we're getting out of it being single-based and going to albums. I wouldn't want to be around for that time either.
Now it looks like we're moving back towards single-based again.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, everything goes in circles, man. Like, the music industry was single-based at one point, and the LP was just, this is where we throw all the singles, and we just want to put this out because of the price point. Then in the late 60s, that's when we entered the LP era. Rap didn't enter the LP era until 86, 87, 88. So, you know, that's the parallel.
Right. Yeah, I just, honestly, I think about just what you would have to do. I mean, to compete, it's like, all right, are you the best? Like, say you live in a, complex, like, are you the best in your building? Then it's like, all right, are you the best on your block? Are you the best in your neighborhood? Are you the best in your borough? Now, like, are you one of the best in your city? Yeah. And then, like, on a national scale, can you compete with these people from other cities and other states? Now, it's just like...
Now, I want you to understand this and just try to grasp this concept. Imagine if your crew, that lunch table you chilled with and you had to compete with, those other 3 people around you end up being in the top 20 for your entire era/generation of MCs. And this is what happened when Kane ended up in the Juice Crew. Think about the Symphony. The Symphony, a song where of all people, I'm saying it again for emphasis, of all people, the guy who is supposed to be the most famous member of the Juice Crew looked at the lineup of the symphony and says, I ain't doing this. I'm not rapping on this song. Really, Shan? You're not going to rap on a symphony? Yeah, I'm too large to rap on a symphony. Bruh. And think about, now let's go into an alternate universe. Imagine if Shan had been on the symphony. Okay? And I hear the laughter. I hear the snickering. Imagine if Shan had been on the symphony. It's likely he would have wanted his verse taken off. Because that's how ill the symphony was.
Yep.
I don't want to go first. I want to send Glasses in the booth. Glasses ends up being Master Ace. And everybody knows him from Listen Closely, Tension Undivided. Many people try to do what I did, you know? And everybody's like, oh, Glasses came off. Shit, let's get in the booth. And let's rap.
Yeah,
you know?
That's a whole career that's still going to this day, by the way.
Exactly.
So.
It's, let's get in the booth. And just the idea that in this hyper-competitive era, that Big Daddy Kane came out of a crew of all-time legends and put together this album, and one of the all-time classic songs from it is the third song on the cassette.
Man. I'm just like kind of blown away. I'm just still fixated on the thought of trying to, just because my generation, they're like you said, there were no gatekeeper. Like, there isn't anyone at SoundCloud like, nah, that's not good enough, we're not gonna let you upload that.
No,
like, you just
right,
you put it out.
Not even that. There was a point where you had to go to a studio and at least be able to have the money to pay for the studio time or convince the engineer you were dope. Now we're on a mic, right? I could record a whole album on this mic I'm recording on right now.
Yes, and upload it. And people be like, yo, this is trash. I'm like, I'll just make another one. But again, like, without the checks and balances, things are just different. But we can't put the shit back in the cow. It's just what it is. That generation is that generation, and that competition is that competition. Competition still exists today. Energy never dies, it just changes form. But again, this is a unique space and time for rap music in general, and especially through the lens of people hearing these recordings in the context of the time. And it's great to have y'all talk about an album that was released in 1988 in one of the most heated eras in terms of competition, and you get to hear it freely and hear it out of context and draw your own conclusion to the song today without understanding its weight at the time it was recorded.
Well, that's why we bring in you, Dart. As Jadakiss once said.
Coming up
Adams, you official.
I'll slap the shit out of anybody who says I ain't.
No.
All right.
You're official, man. Like,
that was a fun day. That was 30. that was 5 years ago. And the crazy thing is that if you watch the video for that, I was 45 pounds heavier than I am now. So I look at that video and I'm just like, damn. And then I think about how tall is Jadakiss if I'm 6'4". It's a crazy time. But yo, he was so high and so drunk. No,
you sobered him up though.
Yes, I'll tell you the story. He was, because we were at a place at the time in Boston. It was called Naga, Cambridge. So we're in Central Square, Cambridge, at this place called Naga. He's doing his top 5 dead or alive thing in Boston, and people ask the same dumbass questions, right? So everybody's like, put Dart last. Put Dart last. So he goes through all these questions. He had a few good interviews, but for the most part, they were just mundane shit. He's just whatever. So when he gets the first questions, he thinks this is gonna be another whatever interview. So he gives me that answer because he's like, I just want to get out of here and eat. Again, me and my people about they already got the reservations lined up. They're gonna take him out to eat. So he's like, yeah. He gives me the mundane answer. You can hear the audience laugh. Gives me the next question. He gives me sort of the answer. And then the third question, That's when it snaps. He's like, oh shit. This is why they put you last. Oh, they put you last. And then he realized, he looks around the room, he's like, wait, everybody is watching. It's like, who is this dude? So, like, after the interview was over, you know, I did it, it was short, but, like, everybody was talking about that for months afterwards. I got stopped in the streets about interviewing that Jadakiss interview for months afterwards. And he was at dinner like, yo, that interview, I was high as fuck. I was drunk as hell. And that shit sobered me right up.
You can see it in his face because, bro, he looks so fried at the beginning of this video. And then Dart says, like, the third question. It's like, yeah, the third question, something changes in his demeanor, his eyes, all this weight comes off of him. And he's Jada. He's you know, like, Dart brought him back to life.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious.
I got a kick out of that. You guys should look up on YouTube. It's Jadakiss versus Dart Adams. You guys will find it if you search.
Yeah, it's tagged Jadakiss versus Dart Adams. Also, I did a really great interview, one of the last ones with Prodigy when he was at MIT. So watch that one too. But yeah, man, I did a lot of iconic ass interviews, man. The last one I'm going to talk about is the Slum Village interview, which this is hilarious. In Asia, when they did their tour, when Slum Village did an Asian tour, they used clips of my interview with Slum Village to promote the tour overseas.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I was just like, people would send me a link. This dude, my boy from Japan, would send me a link. It was like, hey, you need to see this. I'm like, they're promoting the tour with links from an interview I did from a Boston. What? So yeah, man. But thanks for bringing that up. That shit always brings a smile to my face, and I'm not a smiley person.
Me too. Me too. I actually showed the video to my girlfriend earlier because she was asking who's coming on the show today, and she's a fan now. She's like, yeah, I like this guy. So yeah, thank you. And I honestly, I'm glad that you've been able to come on for these real touchstones from the 80s. You're invaluable for us to provide this sort of context. It's so appreciated. And obviously, I'd love to have you back for Cool G Rap and for Criminal Minded, which is the honorary fourth in this evolution.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
So, Dart, do you have anything you want to promote? I just want to promote that Dart's in the Boston Globe today. You guys go check that out. A great article in the Boston Globe. Yeah,
so the hilarious thing about that is the article's in the Boston Globe, and there's a video portion. Now, for those of you that aren't aware, we've been in quarantine for like 10 months, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So I have my barber, I haven't seen him since March 8th, right? Also, my barber died November 18th.
Wow,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Died November 18th. So I haven't had a lineup. I damn sure haven't been taking care of my beauty regimen. I sure haven't been sleeping normally, right? So when you do a video portion, it's very clear I was in the middle of doing a bunch of writing and research, and I don't sleep a lot. I'm just going to say that I look like a shoe if you watch the video. I'm just going to say it flat out. I look like a shoe. And I promise you guys, if you go and watch my interviews on Boston Legends and stuff like that, I don't normally look like I've been run over in the middle of the street. All right? I don't. I promise you. I'm somewhat good looking, actually. But in that interview, I particularly look beat to shit. And it's cool. It's cool because we're going to look back at this and laugh some years from now. But right now, I just look at it and like, God damn, I look terrible. But it's what it is.
Hey,
fuck it.
It's 2020.
With it.
Yeah, you know, we're all going through it. They should give you a pass.
Coronavirus. Yeah, give me a coronavirus. I get a coronavirus pass. So it's what it is. But I'm just letting y'all know off rip. When you see that is not a proper representation of what I look like. But it is. It actually is because Corona.
We'll allow it. Plus,
we'll allow it.
This is an audio only show, so they don't know how haggard we look half the time when we're doing this.
That's the beauty of it.
It is. It truly is.
Because you look at my Crate 808 joint, and it's like, oh, he's going through it. Watch that shit on YouTube. No, listen to the podcast, homie. If you want to watch the video, you'll get to see the shit I'm holding. That's cool. That's great. But just know, coronavirus.
Oh, one more plug, by the way, for Dart. Guys, if you haven't, you got to go back and go through the archives and listen to Dart's Dart Against Humanity podcast. This is good audio.
Oh, Jesus
I'm
Christ.
telling you. I like it.
It's funny because, so you know that Spotify does the Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year?
Right.
So in my IG, all I got was links to people saying how many times they listened to that goddamn podcast of mine. And it ended, of course. So I did 100 episodes. I did my 100th episode, and I believe my last episode was October 16th, 2020. Now, it's something I've lived with for years, and I did not talking to an iPhone for 45, 50 minutes. To me, it's a different thing than other people who listen to it and enjoy it. Like, I hate hearing myself talk. You know what I'm saying? I hate doing it. Mm-hmm. And then for other people to be like, oh, I got something out of it. I'm like, oh, cool, that's great, because I hate it. But I'm glad that everybody enjoys that podcast, and I'm glad to be doing something completely different where I'm going to have a guest like you do to stop me from talking.
Well, we definitely love it when you talk, and we appreciate it. I mean, I venture to think of how much context would be lost if you didn't talk, how much knowledge we'd be losing out on. So, we're grateful for it. The hip-hop community, the world at large, if you will. So.
Cool.
We got a message for all the Dart Adams haters. Tell them Moulz said eat a dick.
I love that. That's great. Oh, man.
So, Dart, thank you again for joining us. Where can they find you on social media?
Unfortunately, you can find me at Dart_Adams on Twitter, on Instagram, and even Clubhouse if you're into that type of thing.
Oh, look at you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, congrats on getting the account back as well. I know there was a struggle for a little while there.
Dude, when you have people like Just Blaze in your corner, you'll get your account back soon enough. Like, Jesus Christ, man. That dude he's quite literally the cheat code. And salute to Dan Petruzzi. Dan Petruzzi is the dude who actually made it happen, but Just was the man who's shined the bat signal.
Nice.
Well, thank you, Dart, again, and we'll love to have you back anytime right here on Rap Rankings. Mel?
Yep. Of course, thank you. We'll can't wait to see you again, and we'll continue with the review right after this break. Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.